What's up, everybody? This is Rob Shack. So today we're doing a very challenging race in my Gran Turismo 3 All-Star Series. This is using the Panoz against the cars that are way better than me. So this will be a fun one. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Help me get to 1,000 subs. That's the dream of the end of the year. We're at, as a time of this recording, 540 or something. I don't remember. But yeah, I started out, confidently destroy the R390's race right at the beginning because you gotta do that because he's too freaking good. He's just too good. He'll catch up to everybody in this video, and then it's hilarious. I'm in this bumper cars fest here with the other cars, and then it's pretty funny. Honestly, I'll just kind of commentate a little bit of this because there's a lot of this. You can barely tell which Panoz is me because there's just a bunch of bumper cars happening here. This is not me, by the way. This is the other. I'm the other one. But yeah. So Panoz is really hard to win this race with because of the fact that the Panos' tires wear. The R390 pushed me off the road there, so after all these years, that's what I deserve. I'm sure of it. I ended up pushing the Alteza into the R390, and then he ends up kind of sliding out again, which was kind of nice. It's really hard to select him because everyone's flying past him. I go flying off the road there. The other Esperante hits me. The other Esperante has yet to spin, which is pretty shocking because, at this point, usually the Esperante is in a solid 6th place by about a mile and a half or 5,000 miles. He ends up getting kind of bullied here by the R390 was kind of bullying people this race, so that was kind of like just an interesting little situation there. Although he actually didn't touch him there. I thought he pushed him, but he didn't. But the R390 was bullying me a little bit, but I mean, I totally deserve it after all the times I've slammed into him, and I slammed into him on the first turn, so, I'm already one of those people, but yeah. So I ended up trying to my goal was just to kind of stick with the R390 this race, just kind of keep myself close to him because his draft is really good, and sometimes he starts to slide out, and that would help. I was very nervous about the GT1 because he was not making any mistakes, which was kind of uncharacteristic of the GT1, honestly. Usually the GT1 is either being beaten by the R390 or just kind of really far in the back. Being destroyed by everybody because he glitches into that wall when he spins out on the final corner. But he didn't do that this time. He was doing great. I was kind of getting nervous, but I was like, I gotta just kind of focus on the cars in front of me. I tried to just stick with the R390. I stopped trying to mess with him because I wanted to, as I notice in this game, if you keep messing with the R390, he will just pit normally on the 7th lap, and you kind of don't want that. If you want like an interesting race where he spins out and you can beat him and stuff like that, you want him to not get totally interfered with constantly. You want his tires to wear just enough. It's an art form I'm trying to work on in this game, and yeah, the other Esperante is doing terrible. It's fine. I'll redeem the Esperante name. That's probably what I'll name this video. But by now you'll have seen it, so you'll know. But yeah, basically my goal was to just stick with the R390, hope that he eventually kept making mistakes. He's very fast, and once he gets in front of the Jaguar here, you'll see just how good he is. He's about 7 seconds behind the GT1, and in about a few laps, he's right behind the GT1. And so I was just kind of like, well, I've inputted my messing up his tires a little bit. It's just up to how much I messed with him, and it ended up working out really well. It's not that sciencey. I'm making it sound very sciencey. Basically, if you never touch the R390, he pits normally, and if you beat him up a lot, he pits normally. But if you hit him a little bit and he kind of gets a little bit disrupted, he's able to if you get it right in the sweet spot, he will miss the pit, he'll hit the wall, he'll get stuck. All this weird stuff happens, and you can go back and look at all my videos. Probably the ones by now that have the most views are the ones where he got stuck on a wall, and you can kind of watch what I did in those videos. But it's kind of down to a science, honestly. Like, as much as I don't want to admit that, it kind of is. You just kind of need to hit him a little bit just to kind of get him spinning a little bit, and then he will have some funny moments. I'll show a few of these little Panoz spin out moments here because they're pretty funny. Actually, this is kind of a different one. So usually he doesn't spin like that. Again, this is the great thing about this game is the AI are so interesting that you can play through a level 100 times like I've done on this level, and cars will still spin out in weird ways, and it's very interesting to me. At this point, yeah, I am well into 4th, trying to just kind of keep my tires from wearing too much. At this point, I was just going, since I'd been so aggressive at the beginning by just trying to destroy everybody, I was like, I'm going to just take it slow on each corner, not try to skid out it too much because the Esperante has some weird sliding. He'll either understeer or oversteer depending on how you take a turn. So I was like, just gonna try to not do any of the steers with this car right now. Just gonna hold my 4th place line here, and just kind of hope that these two behemoths of race car drivers here can mess up a little bit. They generally are doing very well, and eventually their AI-ness starts to show, and they start to have some moments of weakness here. Starting with the R390, he starts to mess up here, and this helps a lot. He does a little bit of the like equivalent of what the Toyota GT1 does. Oh, there's a thing outside my house. I was wondering what that was. I thought my computer was overheating, but it's just somebody outside my house. But anyway, R390 now is back into 3rd. I was using his draft a little bit to kind of keep up. I wanted to stay close to him now, because I was like, this is my chance to stick with him. Let's watch another Esperante spin now. That's one of the more OG ones right there. Just the classic spin and then reverse and waste a lot of time unnecessarily reversing in the gravel there. And now he's getting even closer to being lapped. I'm in a 3-way battle here with myself, the R390, and the Jaguar XJ220. So that's kind of interesting. GT1 is just destroying us all. Hasn't shown any signs of making mistakes yet. This is a pretty funny moment here. I'll just let it happen. So apparently if the AI, enter into a battle on the corkscrew, they will just not brake on where they're supposed to, and then just go flying into the wall like that. Even the cars like whatever his name is, the XJ220, still can do that, which is funny. It's pretty shocking when they do that, because it's like, that's such a random and very specific moment, but time and time again I've noticed that they will spin out there if you give them the opportunity. If they're battling other people, they will 100% not brake right, or they'll either, when they're trying to go on the inside, they'll do that, or on the outside, they'll nick the curb and go flying like the Jaguar did there. But either way, somebody will hit that wall or go into that gravel, and I find that really hilarious. The Toyota GT1 is now showing his signs of weakness with his tires, so that's kind of getting good. We're still in a battle here for 2nd, which is honestly pretty cool. I didn't think I would be this close to the R390 at this point, because I was like, my tires were starting to wear on the front. Esperante's tires wear very quickly, given that the car understeers and oversteers, does all the steering. It just likes to slide all over the course, and the AI show it really well with the way they drive. It's pretty ridiculous to use this car, so try to use it. If you want to use it, let me know in the comments. I want to see people try to use this car. It's not easy. I've done a couple videos with the Esperante where I've won. It's definitely a lot of a strain on the car, on the steering, and on the focus. You kind of have to focus really hard when you're playing with the Panoz, because the Panoz just is not that good compared to all the other cars in this little bit. Now the R390 and the Panoz spin. The R390 actually side bumps the Esperante there, and then I hit him because I couldn't get out of the way. So the 3-way battle for 2nd has now become a 2-way battle for 2nd between me and the Jaguar, because with me hitting the Panoz, the Jaguar caught up. First, the Jaguar gave me a chance by flying into the wall when he was battling the R390, but now I've returned the favor. R390 is getting to the point now where he starts to slide all over the place and go nuts, so that's going to be kind of funny. Once that starts to happen, I'll talk much more. But the race continues. Everybody spins out a lot. I'll talk more, but I'll stop it. I'll stop talking once the R390 spins for a while. I'll just kind of let the thing go, but then I'll re-talk again at the end. But yeah, this game is just great. This race is so replayable to me. I love this race. I like the mix of really fast cars and spinny cars, and just everything that goes on here is great. Again, if you're still watching, help me to get to 1,000 subs. That's the hope. I'm trying to get there by the end of the year. We're getting close. I mean, kind of. We're making more progress this year than I have in the years past, so I'm pretty pumped about that. It's been pretty great. So I decided, as my tires were so destroyed, I was like, I've got to pit. So I went ahead and pitted a lap earlier than I wanted to. I was very nervous about doing that. I feel like I shouldn't have done that. I should have just taken one more lap with red tires. But it ended up working out for me well. The R390 does a terrible turn there. The Jaguar, the Esperante, and the other Esperante, me and the other Esperante, but all pit. Altez is just kind of chilling with his Advan Racing, trying to catch up to us. Doing okay. Now it's just a solid me back in 3rd. with the Jaguar right behind us. The R390 is pulled up into second, but he is into the stage of the race where he's going to start to slide around. When his tires start to turn orange in the back, you will notice that he kind of can't control his car very well. He'll still do well because his car's, the AI are so good at handling when the car is in the drift mode where it's like orange back tires. They can slide around the corners and it almost looks like they're not even in trouble at all. But then once they turn red, he just loses his control completely. So that'll happen. GT1 is about to pit in because his tires are... The GT1 to me is surprising. I feel like he should pit well before he actually does, but he never does. And it's always kind of surprising to me. Here's the R390 sliding, and here we go. Oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought he actually spun out there. But I think he actually just goes right into the pit here, so never mind. He actually just did a totally fine race. Well, what ended up happening was he did spin out a zillion times. He didn't do very well. The GT1 beat him. So I don't really know what happened there, but it's almost like they just were like, oh, I got to mess up more. It's like, I don't know. The AI just seemed like you never know what they're going to do. For the next few laps, the R390 and the GT1 spin out pretty much every lap because what ended up happening was, so I was still pushing my tires, which I was like, this is not a good idea. I shouldn't be pushing my tires as much. I pitted a lap early and I should be going slower. But I was like, I gotta keep trying here because I gotta at least make this a race. Like I'd already gotten this far into the trial and I was like, if this goes poorly, I'll just restart and do another race. But I was like, I think I should just see this one through. At this point, the R390 was down into 5th. And I was like, well, he'll have to get through the other cars. That might help me. But I'm so far behind the GT1. Like I'm 12 seconds, 11 seconds behind the GT1 here. And I was like, how am I going to possibly catch up to this dude? I mean, he did a great race. For the first 8 laps, the GT1 was completely on fire. And even the R390 wasn't driving bad either. I mean, I messed him up some. But it was still just like going very well. But then it just turns around. The last half of this race was fantastic in terms of the AI just doing things that helped me out. I mean, the GT1 driving straight into the wall and then reversing there helped so much. I went from being 11 seconds behind him to like, I think it's going to be about 2. I greatly, it was 1.8. So like, he totally like gives me such a chance to come back. The R390 didn't mess up there, but he still just got to pass a bunch of people. He just passed the Alteza, so he's now up into 4th, but he still has to pass the Jaguar, and the Jaguar is way more viable than the Alteza. So I'm just trying to, at this point, keep up with the GT1. I'm still pushing my tires. I did not, again, I was still, at this point, thinking, like, okay, basically the Toyota GT1 has to mess up, like, a whole bunch more times, and the R390 has to spin 2, just for me to even have a shot here, because I knew at that point, I'll watch the Alteza, or the Esperante spin there. But I knew at this point that my tires were wearing way too fast. I was already at yellow with 5 laps to go. I was like, I'm going to have to slow it up a little bit. At this point, I didn't know which, you can't see, obviously, which position the R390 and the Jaguar were in. I was like, I just know they're battling. So I'm like, hopefully the Jaguar holds. And then now I'm seeing on this replay that the R390 kind of threw his chance of passing him away there. And so I'm just kind of hoping, all right, maybe maybe we'll kind of see what happens here. The GT1 spins, and I'm like, okay, I would really love it if the GT1 gets passed here by whoever's whoever's behind him, so I can just know who am I waiting for here. But then I noticed that whoever was in 4th spun, and I was like, it's never never gonna be the XJ220 who's gonna spin. So I was like, that must have been the R390. There's no other way, because I've never seen the Jaguar spin in this game. Even when he slams into the wall after missing his braking turn point, he doesn't spin, like, ever. So I was like, that must have been the R390. I think that's one of the 2 factors that needed to happen for me to win this race. The next factor is the GT1 needs to spin, like, another once, maybe even twice, for me to have a shot here. I knew that the Jaguar was going to pit on the 14th lap. Technically, I should too, but I was like, I can't do that. I got to just run the red tires. I can't pit again, because if I do, it'll just be too stressful, and it'll be too much time wasted pitting with not enough time to make that time back up. So I was like, okay, this is the moment of truth here. Is the GT1 going to spin? Am I going to be fine in front here? Because the GT1 was still in 2nd and could still gain on me very quickly. And as my tires started to wear, I was like, I've got to start to kind of slow up. So I was taking turns way slower now. I was like I had pushed my tires and run a few like 116 laps in a row, and I was like, okay, I gotta start to slow up. So that was a 117. I was like, that's pretty good. And then this helped so much. The Jaguar pulled a alliance with me there, slams the Toyota GT1 as he's trying to get back on the straight line, and then Toyota GT1 ends up spinning back around again. That probably made the race right there. The Jaguar giving that, just pushing the Toyota like that helped so much, because now the R390 didn't spin that last lap, but now they're both together behind the XJ220. That helped so much for me. I felt very confident in my ability to slow up now. I was going very slow. My tires were turning orange. I still had 3 laps to go. The other Esperante was doing this, just sliding all over the place. I was just like, hey, I'm going to redeem the Esperante name on this race. I'm feeling good about it. Jaguar's in second. He has a little bit of a buffer because the 2 other supercars are fighting. I was like, they might be able to keep that fight going. I was like, this might be it. I was still tentative because I was going, it's the Esperante. It's got terrible tire wear. Once my tires start to turn red, I will no longer be able to turn. So I was like, I'm still biting my lip here, but I was like, so far, everything at this point had gone my way. That'll probably be what I named this video, is everything going my way for the Esperante here. This is like the once in a 100 chance, both of them sliding around on the gravel there. None of them spin, which was weird. I was expecting someone to spin, but we're still okay. The other Esperante is with me here. He's actually my even more of a buffer, so I've got lapped Esperante and the XJ220 between me and the R390 and the Toyota GT1. I knew that the Jaguar was going to pit, so I was like, maybe they'll catch up to him and he'll slow them up, because he's starting to show his tire age a lot here, and I was hoping for that a lot, and I think it was going to happen. And then the Esperante, if the Esperante spins and kind of recovers, he could still be a threat, or at least, do that thing that the Esperante does where he just sits in the middle of the road and then somebody hits him and goes flying off the road. I was like, maybe that'll happen. There was a lot of opportunities here. I was just biding my time, trying to get as much of a lead too as possible, because I knew that even with me going slow, I was still sort of losing the both of them. I was losing the Esperante, I was losing the R390 and the GT1 because they were having to battle people, and I think I was sort of losing the XJ220 just because of his tire wear. But then at this point, I didn't realize this, but the R390 actually passed back, so I was like, shoot. But then he just, like clockwork, he just spins again, and he kind of slows the GT1 down with him there. So that was fantastic. Again, everything just going my way as the Esperante here. My tires at this point are completely shot. I'm taking turns really badly. I'm losing time left and right. The Jaguar is catching up to me everyone's gaining on me. I'm doing very badly, but I'm doing as best as I can with my double red front tires. My turning is completely shot. Basically, all I can do is kind of get to a high RPM and slide it, start to like understeer or oversteer just to keep my car on the apex. That's all I could do at this point because my tires were so destroyed. And it's because I pushed it. I had to, though. I couldn't not do that. Even here, my brakes were so shot that I was like, all right, I'm just going to try to brake late. And I braked even not that late. It was enough to make me go into the gravel there. So I was like, I am just totally falling apart here. Jaguar, again, is still holding for me a little bit. And I know he's about to go into the pit because I know I would be technically supposed to be pitting right now on the end of the 14th. But I was like, I'm 10 seconds ahead of the Jaguar, so a little bit more on the other two. I can't do it. I have to just take a horrible lap here and just hope that I can hold the lead. And it was a nail biter for me for sure. Then the Toyota GT1 doesn't spin here, so I was like, oh boy. The R390 did. I figured he would. Somebody was going to. It just had been happening so much, and that kind of ruins his race. So he pretty much bottles it. He's done. As Alteza does whatever the heck he's doing, but he's not really a threat. So it was just up to me and the Toyota GT1. My tires are so shot. I'm just basically trying to stay on the apex, even though I'm going 20 miles an hour slower than I should be. Braking down to the 50s there just to keep my car on the course. Even with his kind of worn tires, he didn't even do that. He goes down to 73. So yeah, he's taking turns 20 miles an hour faster than I am. I was going, this is bad. This is not what I wanted to see happen. But I was like, maybe I can just kind of slowly take the turns, limp my way across the lead here. I was just like, I just don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose this race because I was actually like, I can see it. I don't want to ruin this race. If I take turns too slowly, they can catch up to me. So I'm just going anything to stay on the gravel, anything to stay off the gravel, stay on the course, stay on the apex as best as possible. Just take corners slowly, methodically. It was ugly, but we managed to pull across the lead, finish the race in front. It was funny how the AIs kind of helped me out in this one because they didn't really mess up the first 9 laps, and then at the end of the race, they just both totally blundered their races. I mean, even here, the R390 is taking a corner terribly, sliding it, bumping into the front of the wall, reversing, then going forward again, giving the Jaguar XJ220 this fake hope that he might catch up to him. Just hilarious stuff. I couldn't believe that I ended up winning this. I didn't feel like I had what it took. The Esperante, although a great car, just cannot compare to the R390 and the GT1, and even the XJ220 to an extent. The XJ220 is such a good car, just needs to pit a lot more. I just couldn't believe it, but with only one pit in there, pitting early, that was a bad idea, but it worked out. Everything worked in my favor this race. I kind of couldn't believe that I finished it strongly. Well, I did not finish it strongly, so we did it. Thank y'all for watching. Hope this was a good race. Hope y'all watched it through to the end. It was a close one. Help me get to 1,000 subs. Y'all are awesome. Peace.